Chapter of the All Progressive Congress, APC, has called for an investigation into Mr. Kazeem Akinleye, the Chief of Staff to Governor Ademola Adeleke, over allegations of contract fraud. The APC's demand was made in a statement issued on Sunday by its spokesperson, Mr. Kola Olabisi. The APC urged Governor Adeleke to refer Akinleye to the Code of Conduct Bureau for an investigation into claims that he used his office to secure a 297 million naira TET fund contract intended for the University of Osun for his company, Akinsas Interbiz Limited. Olabisi described the allegations as serious and called for immediate action, dismissing the governor's explanations as inadequate. There is there's a growing concern in me that I mean, while looking through news reports, while looking through topics for discussions, I begin to find out that the opposition parties are beginning to seem like even financial watchdogs right now. And I begin to ask, okay, I could excuse the EFCC, I could excuse the ICPC. These are institutions we are still nurturing them to be what they ought to be.
What should that be?
I mean,
should we still be nurturing them? We have appropriations.
Why is the civil society organizations, not involved in picking these holes in the various state governments and leaving that for the opposition party to take hold of? I would have preferred if the CSOs were in charge of picking out these flaws in the various state governments.
Okay, so you say right is stronger than right.
Right is the denominator that is the strongest in prosecuting cases, political cases or whatever cases in Nigeria. I say this because I'm a very active member in the civil society space. And I can say to you that it takes money to prosecute some of these things. If you see what SERAP is doing, SERAP is able to pursue some of these things that they are pursuing. Because if you permit my saying it, they have got volunteer lawyers who are ready to jump into the river, as it were, to ensure that justice comes to the Nigerian people. Volunteer lawyers, but they are not paying. People who are dedicated to prosecuting them. So if you had a civil society organization that Andy was heading, and I wanted to prosecute certain things, I used my resource to investigate, to do something like was just done recently with NDDC. You saw what happened when the civil society space shouted and said, "Oh, NDDC is corrupt," with evidence and everything. And they went to the Senate, they pursued the case to the Senate, and what did they end? Off your mic, Mr. Chairman, off your mic. And that was how it ended. If you had the civil society organizations having enough monies, having lawyers who are able to do certain things, they would have been able to prosecute these things beyond even the off your mic thing. So first off, the resource to do is not available. That's one thing that we must understand. Then there is wanton corruption even in the civil society space. Very recently I was talking to a colleague, in this movement, that there are very few civil society organizations that you can say today can hold their heads up high and say, we have not been tainted. We have not been tainted by a politician. We have not been tainted by any institution. We have not been tainted by any individual that is a politically exposed person. There are very few civil society organizations. Because they are either running to United Nations to go and cook up certain things to get funding, and if you cooked up certain things to get funding, your opposition can see you and quickly go and say, "Oh, you even did this now to get funding. Why do you think you can come and stand to say this man is corrupt when you did this to get funding? Or this man supported you in this way now, he gave you 300 million the last time. Why do you?" So because of all those things, we found that the civil society space is not functioning as it used to function. In the days of, the likes of them Chima, the likes of them Deco, and all these people who actively, were doing civil society business from their resources. They were doing civil society business, using all that they they had available to them. They used their financial resources, they used their physical resources, they used their connections within and outside of the country to prosecute those things. And they were not doing it for ulterior motive. Today, what do we have? We have people who essentially, once upon a time, were in the civil society space, they began to prosecute certain things, they found them useful, they got them into the political space, and today they have even joined in the corruption. Tempting some of us who have continued to emphasize that there is nothing that can make us even dip our hands in the jar or get corrupted. Once you said this today to Nigeria, they'll say, look at you are just coming. I'm tempted to call a few of their names, but let me not call it. Once upon a time, this man was much more vocal than you. Today, he's eating money. He's a minister, he's eating money. Once upon a time, this other one was much more vocal, but see what's happening today. These, riggings, if you may, are what makes for the fact that there are fewer civil society organizations and individuals who can prosecute it. But I agree with what you have said, because in those days you had civil society organizations that were just concentrating on budgets. They just took the budget. Every year the budget was passed, they took the budget and it became their project. And they followed the budget. If NDDC had 300 million, they ensured that they followed it from when that 300 million was given NDDC. What NDDC did with that 300 million, those projects, they followed through on those projects. Exactly. Then they went to the different ministries. There were civil society organizations that were concentrating on health. There were civil society organizations that were concentrating on education. But today, the truth of the matter is that there is fatigue. There's fatigue on the side of the civil society organization because there is fatigue because you are doing so much every year. You are spending yourself every year. You are spending your resources every year. Even the people you are fighting for, they look at you and they say, this one is looking for something. This one is looking for something. When they give you something, they close his mouth. And the government you are fighting, they are sending people after you every day. As you are driving, you are looking into your inner mirror, you are seeing that people they are calling you, they are checking your phone and everything. So you find that today, it feels as though the people who yesterday were champions for good governance have been beaten down. They have been beaten so much to the level where indeed they feel like, okay, let's not just buckle. In any case, the country is not my father's. I was saying to somebody just yesterday that there are people that I knew yesterday who are currently CTC chairmen in Rivers State who spoke against bad government, bad governance. But today, they are there. And today, they are doing things that they could not have imagined that they would do. If you actually go to ask them why they are doing some of those things, they will tell you, the people ahead of us, they have gone, they have eaten theirs. It's my own turn to eat.
Why doesn't Hamdi have civil society organizations to checkmate this?
Absolutely, I do. And I don't know if you do not know, the group against national injustice, named after my mentor, Gani Fahimi, Group Against National Injustice. I'm the president of the movement. We actually are very involved at addressing everything that is injustice in our nation, everything that is injustice. Injustice against individuals, injustice against corporations, injustice against families, every kind of injustice, But you see, it takes a lot to be able to do that. If I did not have a profession, if I was not involved and earning a salary or earning a livelihood, there's no where money is coming from to prosecute those things because you would have to go to court in some cases, you have to investigate in some cases. You have to do several things. Nobody is saying, that man has been doing so well. So let us, without any strings attached, right? Let us support this movement with this amount. Nobody is saying anything like that. So it must be you listening to the cries of people and helping to prosecute it. You saw what we did in Rivers State with the case of Chima Okonodo. A few of us, my civil society movement and a few others, we came together and we ensured that case was pursued to the end. If I sat you down to tell you the costs that is involved or that we threw in at prosecuting that, you will shudder. So if you do not have those things and you do not want to be corrupted, you find that you would at some point get very despondent. At some point you will say, after all, the country is not my father's.
Okay, but what's your analysis concerning the local government caretaker committee chairman in Rivers State. Your personal analysis. Appalling in all ramification. As I sit here, I'm almost moved to tears. I'm almost moved to tears because the people who are currently occupying this position in Rivers State were people who yesterday, I thought if you gave them leadership position, they would be able to demonstrate that it is a good thing to be schooled. It's a good thing to be cultured. It's a good thing to be young. They've been getting congratulatory messages from left, right, and
from
center.
From who now? From their spin doctors. You are congratulating a person because he has done what? I have said in this town, and for anybody who care to listen, that some of us only 2 years to be in leadership position. And it will be clear, it will be visible to the blind and audible to the deaf what some of the things that we will do. I said to you last time, it's not rocket science knowledge. Yeah. It does not require it to fix the bare necessities that Nigerians are in need of. Nigerians are not looking for one person who is going to bring one technology that will move them from Rumokoro to Rumukuta in split seconds. No. Nigerians are looking for how they can eat, how they can send their children to school, how they can have a regular power, how they can have security, how they can, the basic things like Abraham Maslow has spoken to, physiological needs, safety needs, social needs, and all of that, self-esteem needs. If you may, also self-actualization needs, the basic things, that's what Nigerians are looking for. And to fix these things is not rocket science knowledge. You are earning allocation, and you say you want to do empowerment. And you are buying second-hand, third-hand vehicles for a few people, and you say that's empowerment. You are buying wheelbarrow to a few people. And I look at it, and is this as a result of a lack of thinking, or is intentional and deliberate, so that you can, for the optics, it can look as though you are doing something. In any case, no one is even going to the vehicles to look at the vehicles. No one is even driving them to see that they are rickety in the first instance. For the optics, let's just arrange a few vehicles for people. When there are better things to do, there are several. If they do not know, they can engage. And we will do it for them pro bono. If you just call and say, Andrew, please come. I have got this much money that I want to use to do empowerment for this much people. In the first instance, what you should do as a citizen person is to be able to say, what is the number of this category of people that I have in my environment, in my local government? The number of out-of-school children. The number of women who are looking at starting a trade. The number, and it's as simple as that. If you got 10, 20 people together in a hall, and you told people to come and pitch their businesses, and the best of those pitches were given monies to go and execute, and you plugged certain people as mentors around them, you took their data, you followed them up, do you know that would be better empowerment? If you got 20 people and you got 20 people every 3 months, or you got 20 people every 6 months, and you give them 10 million naira each of all those 20 people, you pursued the protocol that they pitched to you with somebody who is a mentor that is plugged to them. In another 1 year, 2 years, you are going to see very palpable changes in your environment as against this nonsense that we see this people doing. And there are several ways that we can do this empowerment. So for me, it is rather very unfortunate, really very unfortunate, that we have young men who ordinarily you would have expected that they would do better. They would do better than the people who were there before. They would do better than the governors whose only interest, when they become governors, was to take security votes and to carry monies and stash them abroad, take them to different countries and go and put them in safe warehouses. You would have expected that these people will come and they will do better and they will do differently.
Did they do better than the former local government?
The truth of the matter is, yes. I would not want to compare them because my expectations for these people, they are way higher. I say that people would appreciate a thing from 3 perspectives. Okay. 1, from your expectations. Yeah. From and of that thing. That's how you appraise it. If I thought that this person, I expect that this person is going to do this well, and the person did not do that well, I can appraise that person as being bad. That's the first thing. Okay. 2, from your experiences. What experiences have you had? If once upon a time you went to a country where you drove a road that was perfectly tarred, and you saw that their counties, their local government equivalent fixed those roads, and you came to Nigeria and you were driving, on what you cannot call roads. I saw the Delta State governor recently going to one local government and trying to check the road that he gave money for. He was using his hands to pluck the sand and everything that they said they had done. If you had traveled abroad before, you had gone to places, you had experienced certain things, you had experienced classrooms, and you come to Nigeria and you see what you see here, you are going to measure those people as being failures. The third is your educational level. What level of education you have. By the level of education that you have, it will determine how you appraise people. So for me, these 3 E's: my experiences, my expectation, my educational level. I thought that it made me to want to appraise these people differently from the past. Okay. Because I had seen that these people are supposed to be a lot different. Some of them, like I said to you, are people who are PhD holders. Yes. PhD holders. Some of them are people who I had sat with to have conversations, in time past, and they were very cerebral. But today, see what's happening. They are busy buying vehicles, third-hand vehicles, and buying wheelbarrow for their community people.
Is there a jinx? Is there a jinx in political office?
I think it's poverty, right? Poverty of the mind. You see, if you are unable to conquer poverty, real poverty, literal and figurative poverty, if you are giving authority, if you are giving leadership position, and you are giving yam and knife, you would demonstrate your poverty in how you administer the yam and the knife. So people who have tasted too much of poverty, once they sat around money, the first thing they thought about doing was to consume, was to take. Because in them, there is still poverty. You would have to first conquer poverty to understand that poverty is not essentially about the amount of money that you have in your pocket. No, it's not essentially about that. It's essentially about what you are able to do and what you are not able to do. Because without money, there are a lot of things you can still do. But a lot of people just assume that because yesterday they rode in keke, yesterday they slept on beds that had bugs, yesterday they were unable to have, I don't want to say 1 square meal, they were able to eat once a day. So by their thinking, once they are put in position of authority, they must quickly gather so that they don't return to what it used to be. It's a mindset. And that's what I see in all of them across the length and breadth of this country. From the north, south, east, and west. That's why you see a person becomes, whatever. And the first thing he's doing is stealing 2 billion. He's stealing 3 billion. He's stealing 10 billion. They are giving you money to go and construct road. The money is in your account. Hundreds of billions, and you are stealing it. How many years will it take you to eat that 10 billion? I had said to somebody that if you wanted to eat 30,000 naira a day, 30,000 naira a day, it will take you 300 years to finish how many billion? 300 years. How many people can live for 300 years? So it is poverty mentality. That's why you see that a lot of them, they are doing the things that they are doing. The day and the time is going to come when the terrestrial and the celestial will clap. And people who indeed mean well for this country, people who indeed are patriotic, about the things of this country, people indeed who have the fear of God and the sympathy of man at heart, will emerge and will begin to change, some of these issues that we have in our country.
That's what we hope for. We hope that there will be sanity and change in our public offices, and also the people should be the direct beneficiaries, first of all, before any other person should step in. I've been speaking with Comrade Potive Andy, and this is ATN Politics.